You said you just found it here? I was on patrol and all of a sudden, holy twin Batmans. Batman? I agree. The likeness is uncanny. Who would do something so diabolical? World's greatest detective! Okay people, today let's take a quick look at the McFarlane Toys Batman 66 Robot Batman. And I have to tell you, this is one of my guilty pleasure lines. I just love the retro feel. Any other line that scaled back the articulation in order to get it into the 1/12 scale, I would probably be like, eh. But I feel like that fits the subject matter here. It's Batman 66. There's supposed to be some cheese. Now the rest of this series has a Joker in a cowl in disguise. There's Superman in Batman 66 style, there's Lord Deathman, and there's a reissue of Batman and Robin. I need all of those. But I'm not in a big hurry for the rest of them. Like I said, I want them. I will get them. But I wanted this one right now because retro feel and robot feel. It's retro robot. What more do I have to say? Looking at the package, it is what we've been seeing since this line debuted. The blues, the oranges, the blister card. Something that did change is they've replaced the onomatopoeias that were here with actual weapons that go with the characters. I don't know a lot about Robot Batman other than it's a beautiful design, so I don't know if these go to him because looking at it right now, they don't seem like they fit in the hands, but I haven't opened the package yet. Why haven't I opened the package yet? On the back, kind of a prototype shot of the figure, or a digital render, I guess. The colors are a little bit purple. And then this signifies it's from the comics, not the show. As does this. Comic. So let's get this open. And it's exactly what I expected, but word of warning. Once I got it out of the package, I was fiddling with the cape thinking, man, they stuffed all of that under there. I wonder if this whole assembly up here moves. So I started twisting and turning and tilting and pushing and, well, you just saw it, didn't you? Okay, I was gonna say it broke off, but it's not broken. I just snapped the glue apart. You can see it has this shape to it. So once it sits where it's supposed to, it's not supposed to move at all. And the cape is actually stuffed down into here and glued and secured and everything else. When I first did it, there was a what'd I do? It's really just putting the cape back into position, making sure it's not folded up on itself anywhere, and I'm gonna have to glue that back in place. What's nice about that is that shape right there and this piece right here keying into the front of the torso. There's no way I can glue this on crooked unless I am just being willy-nilly about it. So I'm gonna glue this thing down. With that out of the way, or well, back in the way, this is a perfect mesh of Batman 66 and robots of the time. That retro robot feel, to say that again. You have the bat cowl up on the head, helmet, robot noggin thing. There's the logo on the chest. Yellow utility belt around the waist with a gold logo on the buckle. And it's not really pouches going around. It's more simulated robot pouches. But the thing that stuck out at me as a surprise were Batman's spike things on the back of the arm. Otherwise, it's 60s style robot. You have these shoulder pieces coming up with a little stud on them, some bands around the elbows. There's more rivets holding the chest piece at the seams together, right here under the arm too. Oh, and on the back even, hidden under the cape. Matching flares at the hips, same as the shoulders, going down to some smooth legs, band around the knee, and then some boot types. It does come up kind of like Batman, but I don't feel that these are really Batman-y. But I like the style, the yellow ribbing coming down on top of the foot, the blue thing on the front there, and then the flat feet, almost like irons. Again, more rivets, more studs going around it. I was gonna say, oh, this is where the voice comes out, right? Some buttons, but that's actually up here in front, where the mouth should be. I feel like this is kind of a Bat computer type thing. Or radio, maybe? I'm just making this up on the fly. It makes me want to go read the comic book where this is featured. And I almost forgot this antenna thing sticking out the side. I like how asymmetrical it makes it. Because, I mean, everything is symmetrical up until this point right there. The hands, very retro robot. I know I keep saying that, but it has so many of those vibes. And then the cape is basically like the rest of the figures in the line. It's kind of smooth, kind of silky, shiny, but it does lay pretty flat, especially over the shoulders. You can see that it almost folds like paper. But that kind of leans into the vintage feel that McFarlane's going for with this line, again, by knocking the articulation back a bit. Speaking of articulation, there is a swivel at the head, well, mid-head, the head waist. Pin coming out to the shoulder rotates all the way around. Then there's a hinge, but you can already see what's going to happen here. Clank. It's better than I thought it'd be because of how much gap there is in this coming up, but you're going to get to about right there. Hinge and swivel at the elbow comes up, past 90, and then rotates in and out. Swivel at the wrist, swivel at the waist. I believe there's a ball coming out to the hip because there is a little bit of this. It's not much, but it's there. That allows for the leg to rotate forward to about right here. You got to really push it because of, plastic on plastic violence. Thankfully, the plastic is molded in this shiny silver, so even if it was going to mar, you wouldn't be able to see it. Hinge and swivel at the knee comes up to about right there and then swivels in and out. I think my biggest complaint about this line is no ankles, because I can live without double elbows, double knees. I would like to see some crunchiness to the torso, but even that is less important than ankles. It's not so much of a problem for characters like this, where the feet are wide and big and flat, just boom, standing. But you get to someone like Batgirl with heels, and it's a bit more precarious. Well, I already had it set to stand up. For accessories, there's these. And if you heard me at the first, I assumed these were flamethrowers of some kind. Can you blame me? They look like guns. And in my defense, there is a promotional image of the robot holding these like weapons. But then I noticed these peg holes on the outside of the legs, and there's 2 pegs on these. So these are actually flight blasters. Look at that craziness. They're not the same piece. This is going to be hard to show, but you can see that the pegs, the smaller ones, aren't the same. This one has the cutout to the side. This one has the cutout to the front. And then the twists right here are opposite. This one's coming across here. This one's going the other way. And looking at the holes in the legs, that one has the cutout to the front. This one has the cutout to the bottom. Why would that be made to only fit one side when they're both the same thing? I appreciate the extra effort. I don't know if it was necessary, though. And if I'm looking at it right, the flames are opposite. So, maybe that's what they were going for. If you try to stick the left booster in the right hand to use it as a gun or a flamethrower of some type, and it doesn't fit, will the right go in the left hand? What? No, that is not possible. Take the right one and put it in the right hand, and take the left one and put it in the left hand. How? No, that's blowing my mind. That's all to say that you can use them as bat gadgets, some kind of melting device or welding, or because Batman doesn't use guns, of course Batman doesn't fly either, and that's what we have here. So size-wise, robot Batman stands at almost exactly 6 inches tall, which looks fantastic next to Batman and Robin. I only have the trading card versions. I need to get the reissues. Same goes for Penguin and Joker, but putting them beside the robot, it looks like this could have walked out in any episode of Batman 66, helping Batman track down the most sinister villains of that show, like King Tut or Egghead. But it also fits squarely into the Batman 66 comic book realm too, like Two-Face and Batgirl. Yeah, I know, Batgirl, TV, cartoon, comic book, whatever. But if you want to slip them into other collections, here he is with the Hasbro Marvel Legends Vulcan and the Hasbro Star Wars Black Series Stormtrooper. Swinging back around because I just went and grabbed these figures, here is the robot with the DC Universe Classics Batman and Robin. No, I am the world's greatest detective. Does not compute. But I'm kind of feeling there's a match going on here. Oh, you and me are gonna have some fun, buddy! Hamburger. So at the end of the day, not the most mobile of figures, but it sure looks good. Anyone who collects Batman 66 is going to tell you, you're not going to get the most dynamic of poses. That's not what this line is about. And we can wish list all day. I wish there was double this and double that and hinges and pinless and blah, 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 blah. But it kind of plays into the overall feel of this series. The cheese factor, the retroness. Yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying, oh, well, it's better for not having all that articulation. Nah, you know me better than that. I'm just saying, for Batman 66 and my collecting needs, this works just fine. It'll stand alongside the rest of them in the dioramas and the vehicles and everything else they've given us in Batman 66, which is kind of crazy when you start looking at all of it. So yeah, it makes for a neat display. And I mean neat in every sense of that word. It's neat. But you're not going to be posting up elaborate fight scenes or super crazy crouching on rooftops. In fact, this angle is due to the camera. I had to do it like this because otherwise it's just standing straight up and down. This is one of those lines where I'm more into it for the fun factor than the engineering. They're just standing in place on a shelf in a display on the rack somewhere. When I walk by, it still makes me go, oh, those are neat.